Hello everybody, my name is Elena. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're doing another reread with me. This is like a series that I do on my channel where I just reread some of my favorite books. And today that book is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I have an explanation for this. I read this series earlier this year, right after I read The Inheritance Games, because I fell in love with Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. I'm currently kind of in a reading slump, but I'm obsessed with watching Criminal Minds. So I'm trying to set up myself for success by rereading something to get me back into the reading mood, but also something that's so close to Criminal Minds. Like, this is literally Criminal Minds, but young adult. And I think I'll have more of an appreciation for this book if I read it now after I've watched like 4.5 seasons of Criminal Minds, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like halfway through season 5. So I think this is a great idea for right now and for this mood that I'm in or that I'm not in. So I think this is going to be good for me. And also I made a little bookmark yesterday that has the little caution, crime scene do not cross kind of tape, and then it has random text on the back that I just cut out. I didn't even read it. It's not even in my language. Like, I can read it, but like it's gonna take me some time. But I just kind of like circled and crossed out stuff and then underlined it, whatever, like kind of to make it look like an article and someone's been annotating it. That's also adding joy to this reading experience, I think, because like the fact that I have a bookmark that matches the book. But anyways, this is the first book. The first time I read this book, I gave it 4.5 stars, I think, or 4.25 stars. I don't remember. But I'm going out with my friend because she needs to run an errand and I'm going to keep her company. And then we're going to go to the park and we're going to read. So I think this might be good for me. I need to get dressed because she's picking me up in 35 minutes and I'm not dressed yet and my bag is not ready and nothing is ready. So I desperately need to go and get my shit together, but this is what I'm going to be reading. Okay, great. I'm ready. I have my cloud earrings in, my blue tank top, I have my necklaces, I have my rings. I need to put on my watch. I have my friendship bracelet. This is the outfit. I'm wearing my navy flared jeans and white sneakers. Okay, let's put my watch on and then we have to go. I was gonna try and take a cute clip, but the elevator smells like sweat. So this clip is no longer cute. It is the next day and I had a lovely, wonderful day yesterday with my friend. We sat at the park and we read, and I read 55 pages of The Naturals, and I'm gonna tell you about some of the scenes that I did read because I realized like some things in the beginning that I didn't catch when I was first reading them because I hadn't watched Criminal Minds. If you couldn't tell, Criminal Minds is going to be a big part of this video. So I'm sorry if you're sick of me saying it and talking about it. Quite honestly, I don't care because I need to, like I have to talk about it. But the park was really nice because it was a Monday, so like people were at work and then kids were at school, and college doesn't start until October. So it's not like there were college kids anyways, but like it's also like a really big park. It's like a really big area. So you like rarely ever see people, and it was just so nice because we were in the shade and there was like a little bit of sun, but like it wasn't cold, but it wasn't hot. And I had coffee and it was so good. And we just sat there and we talked for a bit and then we read. She was reading The Tenant of Wilfred Hall. And I think before in this video I said by Anna Bronte. I'm so sorry. Her name's Anne. Messing up the author's name is the least of my problems when I absolutely butcher the book name,
because it's not Wilfred Hall or whatever the heck I said, it's Wildfell Hall, and this is frankly really embarrassing, and I've clearly lost it.
I said Anna in front of my friend, and she was like, it's Anne. And I was like, oh, thank you for telling me. Now I have to correct myself in the vlog. Anyways, I didn't start the video with a coffee, so I'm gonna make one now. I know this isn't what this video is about, but we were talking with my friend while she was driving us back that, like, we've known each other since high school. Like, we met each other when we were, like, basically kids and teenagers, and we're now, like, almost fully adults. Like, not fully adults because we still don't have a job and stuff like that. We're in college, but, like, we're, like, semi-adulting, and we have driver's licenses, and we can drive our cars, and we, like, pick each other up and drop each other off. And it's just so wild to me that we've known each other for so long, and we've been through phases of life with each other for so long, and none of us, because there's 4 girls, that's my friend group, none of us are the same person that we were in high school, but for some reason, even though we were changing, I guess we were changing together because none of us ever left, and none of us even plan on leaving or giving up, or there's, like, not even any signs of it. Like, I genuinely think we're in this for life. And it was just so wild to think about, and I mentioned it to her, and she was like, you're so right. It's just kind of crazy to think about, because we're so vividly, like, different people than we were in high school, but we're still here, and we're still together, and we still work together the same. And basically what I wanted to say was female friendships really do mean a lot, and they're unlike any other friendship. Okay, then the milk, it's always the same milk. It's probably always going to be the same milk unless something happens and we don't buy this milk, but we always buy this milk. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I think I always make the same face when I'm pouring the milk. I think that's what I've realized. Okay, a bit more milk. Okay, we're good. The Naturals. So, like I said, I got to page 55 and, like, just before part 2. So, let's talk about it. First things first, first things first, when I annotate my books, I use a black gel pen, and when I first read the series, I read it on my Kindle, and then when I bought the physical copy, I added my annotations in with my black pen. And now that I'm rereading it, and I was like, what if I use a blue gel pen for my reread? Because then if I want to flip through it, like, in the future, I can see what I've written down on the reread and what I've written down when I actually first read the book. So it's, like, different, you know? And that's what I did, and I'm very happy that I did that. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was, first of all, I forgot how creepy these You chapters are. Like, they're just, wow. They're really creepy. Yeah, I've written down, like, right here, forever disturbing. Thank you, Jennifer. That's, like, another thing that I love doing. I love referring to the author by their first name as if I know them. I don't. Obviously not. But, like, it's funny. Like, I don't know. It's funny to me. It might not be funny to anyone else. I don't care. But it's funny to me. Can we just talk about how we've known Cassie for, like, 2 pages, and she's absolutely cooking these dudes that, like, come to where she works, like, at the little diner. Like, she's just literally grilling them. Like, please just listen to this. Before either of them opened their mouths, I knew exactly what they were gonna say. The guy on the left was gonna ask for more butter, and the guy on the right, he was going to need another glass of water before he could even think about those jalapenos. 10 to 1 odds, he didn't even like them. Guys who actually like jalapenos didn't order them on the side. Mr. Breakfast Burrito just didn't want people to think he was a wuss. Only the word he would have used wasn't wuss. And I'll help you out. It's either bitch or pussy. Don't know which one, but it's one of those. Because it's like YA, you know, you're like, she's trying not to curse, that's fine. But she absolutely cooked them, and it was so funny. And I really like the, like, meetup scene with Michael when he first shows up, where he's like, I'd like eggs with a side of pancakes, and what did he say? Like, oh, side of ham. And she goes, how would you like your eggs? And he goes, yes. Okay, sir. The last sentence of chapter 1 is, "What in the world had I done to attract the attention of the FBI?" And when I first read the book, I wrote down, "Guess how he likes his eggs, apparently." And then now I've written down, "I'm so funny." Because I think I'm hilarious. Briggs gives her the little business card, and he has something written down on the back, and says, "Please call." And when she's reading it, it's written down in his handwriting. Like, it's not just, typed in. Like, I love how they did that. And again, with the you chapter, it's just me casually calling the serial killer a weirdo. Did I lie? I don't know how I didn't simp for Tanner Briggs the first time that I read the series. I think something changed since the beginning of this year till now. Like, something in my brain chemistry changed, and I literally, I couldn't read a page with Briggs in it without absolutely, falling to my knees. I'm floored by this man. He's so hot. Like, I'm simping. I'm in Simp Town. I'm, driving down the roads. I'm fully in Simp Town right now. And that was my whole experience yesterday. My friend was laughing at me. And I was like, I can't believe I actually thought about reading a classic instead of this at the park. Like, absolutely not. It probably would have made me look smarter. Don't care. Do not care. I would have rather simped for Tanner Briggs. Okay, so more about him. He kind of reminds me of Hodge, but a young version, because Hodge is supposed to be a bit older. Well, a lot older, but let's say in the beginning of Criminal Minds, he's not that old. He gets a lot older later, obviously, because that's how time works. Whatever. I'm trying to say, he's a younger version of Hodge, I think, and maybe just the tiniest bit less strict, but he's still pretty strict. And I really like him, but I also really like Hodge. So this is perfect for me. And I highlighted a lot of things about how Briggs just talks and how he acts, because it's scratching a part in my brain that I didn't know needed to be scratched. And I was kind of apprehensive about rereading this because I already knew the mystery. I know that I will be good to go now that I've read the first 50 pages. There is so much that I missed the first time that I was reading it because I hadn't watched Criminal Minds. And it's not, necessary to watch Criminal Minds to read and enjoy this series. I obviously didn't when I first read it. But it adds, a little something else to it, because you, connect stuff and you're like, oh my god, that in Criminal Minds and this here, it's just, I guess it's more fun if you like to do that sort of thing. Oh, he's so smart also, because they were like, okay, where do you want to meet? And he let her pick where they'd meet. And Cassie's also really observant and smart, and she goes, he knew what he was doing, letting me pick the location, because if he'd specified one, I might not have gone. Both of them just, good job to both of them, honestly. I'm not smart enough to think of that and also figure it out if someone else did it. I'd have to really turn my brain on to think about it, and she's just, doing it. Good for her. Oh, and this really shows you, Cassie's character. There's two scenes this right here that I've highlighted. First one is, I meant what I wrote on the card earlier, he said softly. He nodded to a closed office door on our right. If I were you, I wouldn't go in there. I knew then, the way that I always knew things, that Michael had been in my shoes once and he had opened the door. His warning was genuine, but I opened it too. And I really like that because it shows her character a lot, and I like to tab those kinds of moments that really, are key, moments for the character. And then another one is when she walks into the office and she meets Briggs and she's analyzing and profiling everything on his desk. Are you finished? He asked me. His voice wasn't curt. If anything, he sounded genuinely curious. Finished with what? I asked him. Analyzing me, he said. I've only been in this office for 2 hours. I couldn't even guess what it is that has caught your attention, but I figured something would. With naturals, something always does. Oh yes, this is when I wrote down that I'm on my knees for this man. That's in quotations, by the way. That's exactly what I've written down. And I need to read it out to you because the way he talks and the way Briggs thinks is so good. And he's 24 or 25, and I'm simping for him, and I will be simping for him throughout this entire series because I didn't get to do it the first time. You could try to explain to me how you figure things out, how you figure people out, Cassie, but the difference between you and the rest of the world is that to explain how you just figured out that I'd rather get a bloody nose on the basketball court than tee off with the boss, you'd have to backtrack. You'd have to sort out what the clues were and how you'd made sense of them because you just do it. You don't even think about it, not the way that I would, not the way that my team would. You probably couldn't stop yourself if you tried. I don't even know how to explain to you why that scratches something in my brain and why the way he talks is so attractive, but it is. And I love him. Go Tanner Briggs. Oh yes, and then this one right here as well. I've said if I could inject the way he talks into my veins, I would. I'm very dramatic, if you couldn't tell. Another paragraph that I need to read out. Natural attributes like yours peak in the teen years. Formal education, college, the wrong influences could all interfere with the incredibly raw potential that you have now. He folded his hands neatly in front of him. I want to see to it that you have the right influences, that your gift is molded into something extraordinary, something that you could use to do an incredible amount of good in this world. I love him so much. Also, Jennifer Lynn Barnes's writing is so witty because please explain to me why this scene is so funny. I didn't speak Italian, but based on the empathetic gestures and the way she was spitting out the words, I was able to make an educated guess at a translation. Nona's granddaughter was moving cross-country to enroll in a government-sponsored gifted program over her dead and rotting corpse. Oh, this is another thing that I've learned from Criminal Minds. Excuse me while I think I'm a professional when I read this book. But one of the U chapters right before part 2, so, like the last line from, I guess, the serial killer's perspective is, there will never be another one like the first. And that is something really prominent in Criminal Minds that I've learned, because I've written down the first kill gives them a high and they keep chasing it. I will elaborate for those of you who maybe haven't watched Criminal Minds. Basically, the first kill is their best because it gives them a high, and then for the rest of their lives, they just keep chasing that high because they want to feel it, but they can't because that only comes with the first kill. And so it's like a cycle of doom, and that's what this is. And I was so happy when I read it because that like makes it so much more realistic. And I don't know if that's like concerning or not, but I'm finding it really entertaining. But anyways, that's where I'm at. That's all the annotations that I have for right now, and I will read later, but for now I think I want to watch Criminal Minds again. Okay, it's Wednesday, and I had a very interesting night's sleep last night. And I'm going to explain everything while I'm making coffee. But it was, like, really weird, because, okay, I went out with my friend at 8 p.m., and we went to this, like, little cafe, and I had a coffee, and I was like, oh, I might not sleep tonight. And that's fine, like, I was fine with it, because I don't really have, like, obligations for like today. Like I could nap if I wanted to and stuff like that. I wasn't worried about it basically. And I had my coffee, we walked around, I came home, I was actually really sleepy. So I went to bed like I normally do at like 12:30 at night. I woke up at 3:33 with my heart pounding, not because of the coffee, but because I dreamt something, but I don't remember the dream. The only thing I can remember is like my dad handing me this book, and it had, like, the devil on it or something. And I guess that spooked me or whatever. And then I woke up, like, heart pounding. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I just dreamt about. So I can't even, like, explain it to myself. And then I went to check the time, and it was 3:33 a.m. I don't know if you've heard about, like, 3 a.m. and where people say, like, oh, it's, like, witching hour or devil's hour. That was really scary because of the dream. So I was suddenly, like, freaked out and terrified and didn't want to sleep. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to pee, I'm going to come back into bed, and I'm going to take my phone, scroll through whatever social media I feel like in the moment. I ended up reading fan fiction on Tumblr. It's fine. I read for, like, an hour and a half, and then tried to go to bed, and then couldn't because I kept getting up to pee because I had had a coffee, full glass of water, and then half of my big boy water bottle before I went to bed. So if I wanted to sleep, I literally couldn't because I had to pee the whole time. Also, it was kind of cold, so that was making me pee more. And then my dad got up because he needed to, like, get ready for work. And so I was also awake, just laying in my bed trying to sleep. And then I ended up falling asleep at, like, 6 a.m., and then I woke up at 10:30. But I did make a lot of bookmarks yesterday that I'm going to share with you later because I love making my own bookmarks. It's just so fun. I've always been into crafts and DIYing and stuff like that. So I was having the time of my life. So much so that my hand hurts from doing all of it. So I don't think I'm going to make any today, but we'll see. I said I would talk to you while I was making my coffee. I did not make the coffee, so I'm gonna make it now. So I said I'd show you the bookmarks that I made. So I already showed you this one that I'm using in the naturals, but I made other ones. So I made this one. This one was inspired by Pinterest because I saw it on Pinterest and decided to make my own. It says, "You're on this page, duh." It has a duck on it because I'm, for some reason, like, kind of really obsessed with ducks. And then I made this one thinking of Fourth Wing because I want to reread it. And I wanted to have a bookmark to use. So it's like two little dragons. And you can't see, but like the gray is actually like a glittery gel pen. But you can't see the glitter on camera. But it looks really cute. I like, in my opinion. And then the last one that I made yesterday was this one. And I don't think you realize how much lipstick it takes to do this because my lips were raw yesterday from doing this, but I think it looks actually like really cute and it's gonna be perfect for like in romances. I don't know, I really like it. And obviously I put tape over it because why would I want to smudge the lipstick that I worked hard on? So those are the ones that I made. I made one for my friend like this as well because she wanted one, but I made one with dinosaurs. So that's really cute. But I realized that if I watch Criminal Minds and then read, I don't read because I can't stop watching Criminal Minds. So I decided to flip it this time. So I'm going to read first and then watch Criminal Minds, even though the only thing I want to do is watch Criminal Minds because I have like 4 episodes left of season 5 or like 3 or something like that, and I really want to watch them. Okay, I read 100 pages in one sitting, and the reading slump is exiting my body, and I need to talk about some things. First of all, I have found 2 Swifties so far. Second of all, I love Judd. I've always loved Judd, but I needed to say it, and we've met all of the other naturals, and Leah's first, like, introduction was amazing, and then we have Sloane and Michael and Dean, and it's just, it's so good. And I don't know if I've mentioned it in this video. I think I've mentioned it in a previous video. My favorite character is Sloane. I love her. I adore her. I would die for her. I would lay down my life for her, literally. I love her very, very much. This is where I found out that Judd is a Swiftie. See, I'm making a grocery run at 0900. If you've got requests, speak now or forever hold your peace. And yes, I'm perfectly aware that that's not related to Taylor Swift, but in my mind it is. Also, the first time that, like, Dean and Cassie kind of interact is when Agent Locke takes them on this, like, little, like, excursion to the mall, and she's like, "Tell me about that person," and then they get to profile her. And Cassie, while she was profiling one of the girls at the mall, she was like, "Oh, she's a med student." And then after a long moment of silence, Dean flicked his eyes over to me. "Why med school?" I glanced back at the girl. "Because she's a runner." Dean smiled ever so slightly. "You mean she's a masochist?" And I've written down the first time that I read this book, I also hate running. I mean, it still stands true. I hate running. And I love the fact that, oh my god. And then Dean asks her again, like, "Oh, well, why'd you say that she has a boyfriend and that she's in a relationship?" And the way that Jennifer Lynn Barnes did this is like, it's so good. Please, I will read it out to you. Don't you worry. "What makes you think she has a boyfriend?" Dean asks, and under his quiet drawl, I could hear curiosity or maybe even admiration. I shrugged in response to his question, mainly because I didn't want to tell him the reason that I'd been sure this girl wasn't single was the fact that the entire time we'd been there, she hadn't so much as glanced at Dean. From a distance, he would have looked older. Even in jeans and a faded black t-shirt, you could see the muscles tensing against the fabric of his sleeves, and the muscles not covered by his sleeves. His hair, his eyes, the way he stood, and the way he moved. If she had been single, she would have looked. I'm in awe. Like, that is so good. That's such a good way to write down the fact that Cassie has noticed all of these things already, and that she's so acutely aware that he's so attractive. Mind-blowing. This is another thing Criminal Minds taught me. It's like this thing right here that I've underlined. If a child isn't recovered in the first 24 hours, then chances are good that he or she will never be recovered alive. And that's like what they talk about in Criminal Minds, that if it's a child abduction, you have to find them within the first 24 hours if you want to find them alive. Because that's usually how it goes, which is disturbing, but I have that information in my head now. Yes, this is the first pink tab that I have in this book, and it's with Dean and Cassie. Listen, these books have a love triangle, and it's Michael and Cassie or Dean and Cassie. I was always a Dean and Cassie girly, so that's why I have pink tabs on their scenes. What I'm trying to say is this isn't a spoiler for the other books. I'm not going to mention who she actually ends up with. The reason why I have like pink tabs with Dean and Cassie and like orange ones that are like friendship with Michael and Cassie is because that's what I originally thought when I was reading the books. Like those were my thoughts. I thought she was going to end up with Dean, and I thought Michael was going to be her friend. I just have to explain that just in case someone's like, oh, but I haven't finished the series. Like, no spoilers. No spoilers for the other books. Just this one. Cassie figures it out. She gets into the serial killer's mind and she basically understands it. And then she gets really freaked out about it. And it says, suddenly I was nauseous. It wasn't just what had been done to these women. It was that for a moment I'd connected with the person who'd done it. I'd understood. I felt a hand, warm and steady, on the back of my neck. Dean, you're fine, he said. It'll pass. This from the boy who'd never wanted me to go to a place I'd just gone. Just breathe, he told me, dark eyes making a careful study of mine. I returned the favor, concentrating on his face. Here, now, this moment. Nothing else. I love them so much. Sloane asked Cassie during Truth or Dare, how many people do you love? And Cassie was like, oh, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, any kind of relation, like, how many people do you love? Like, what's the number? And this moment really explains Cassie's character well, so I'm gonna read it out to you. But did I really love them the way that I loved my mom? Could I love anyone like that again? 1, I barely managed to get the word out of my mouth. I stared at Leah, hoping she'd tell me it wasn't true, that losing my mom hadn't broken something inside of me, and I wasn't destined to spend the rest of my life 2 shades removed from the kind of love that the rest of my family felt for me. And this is when I figured out that Michael is a Swiftie too. Okay, listen. Michael didn't bat an eye, but I thought Dean might actually throttle Leah. I don't get jealous, Michael said. I get even. Alexa, play Vigilante Shit by Taylor Swift. Do it now. And that is where I'm at right now. I'm putting the bookmark here. I now get to watch Criminal Minds. I have officially finished my reread of The Naturals, and I need to talk about it. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars like I did the first time that I read it. It was amazing. It was still just as fun the second time as it was the first time. And even though you know how the story ends, if you've read the book and you know who the culprit is and stuff like that, it's still really interesting to read because there were so many hints that you would either pick up on if you were Spencer Reid or if you were reading it for the second time. And I obviously am not Spencer Reid. So that was interesting, but I really liked the little hints throughout the book about the fact that Locke was the one that was the culprit and the serial killer, and I have some moments that I need to talk about regarding that, but I just wanted to say that I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this book. I don't know if or when I'm going to be rereading the other ones, but for now, I'm really happy that I reread this, and I think it's getting me out of my reading slumps, which is good. Oh yes, another scene between Dean and Cassie that I like is when she actually tells him about the case and she's like, no one's gonna believe me that I think my mom is like a part of this serial killer's killings. And then Dean's like, no, they're not gonna believe you. Like, you're way too close to the case. They're not gonna believe you. And then Dean puts his hand on my neck the way he had the first time I'd crawled into a killer's mind. Nobody's going to believe you, he said. You're too close to it. He ran his thumb up and down the side of my neck. But Briggs will believe me. They're so cute. Oh yeah, and right afterwards, she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna go get the case file. She walks into the kitchen. She's like, Michael, can I have the... I burst into the kitchen only to find that Michael and Sloane weren't the only ones there. Judd was cooking and Agent Briggs was standing with his back to me, a thin black briefcase by his feet. The bacon, I finish hastily. Agent Briggs turns to face me. And why does Michael have your bacon? He so knows what she did. He's like, your bacon? Really? Your bacon? Not the case file that you stole? Oh my god, the scene where Locke actually sends her the little gift. And it's like a lock of hair. Ha ha ha. And it's a lock of red hair. And she sends it to Cassie. Girl was traumatized from back then. And then just gets continuously more traumatized as the series goes on. But, like, terrifying. Oh, and this is when I was like, oh my god, Briggs is so hot. I will read you the little paragraph. Bag the packaging, the box, the ribbon, the card, everything. If there's a speck of evidence on any of it, I want to know. Starman's, track the box, how it was sent, where it was mailed from, who paid for it. Brooks, Vance, we need DNA on the hair, and we need it yesterday. I don't care who you have to threaten in the lab to get it, but get it done. Rush it. That is so hot. This is what, okay, I do figure it out. The first time that I read it, I figured out that Locke was the culprit. And this is exactly when I figured it out. I'm gonna read it out to you. You should take me with you, I told Briggs. If this guy wants me, he should use that. We should use that. Set a trap. No, Michael, Dean, and Briggs respond at the exact same time. I turned beseeching? Whatever. She looks into Agent Locke's eyes. She looked like she was on the verge of agreeing with me. And that's when I have written down Agent Locke red flag. Because that is a really red flag. Like, what do you mean you want to use teenagers that you've recruited for a program for cold cases as bait for a serial killer? Are you insane? Well, the answer is yes, but like, what? Oh my god, this was so creepy. Knowing that Locke is the culprit and her like unhealthy obsession with Cassie. Please listen to this. The unsub is breaking pattern. Locke reached out and touched the side of my face softly. Hands off. Literally get your hands off of her. That is so creepy. I'm having chills again, but like the bad kind. Oh my god. This is another little hint that you wouldn't pick up on unless you were Spencer Reed or rereading the book. You took her, I said softly, because they took me. Because she's like kind of thinking, but kind of out loud. Locke caught my eye and I knew she'd heard me. She'd agreed with me. Yeah, because she did it. Yes, this is where it was kind of blatantly obvious to me that there was something going on with Locke, but I just didn't want to, like, accept that she was the culprit the first time that I read it. I'm suggesting that we give this killer exactly what he wants. We deal Cassie in, we take her with us, and pay another visit to the crime scene. You really think she'll find something we missed? Locke shot me an unapologetic look. No, but I think that if we take Cassie to the crime scene, the killer might follow. We're not training these kids to play bait, Agent Briggs said sharply. You tell her. Oh, this is probably like the most obvious hint, but only if you really scour for it. Because you know that, like, in the book, sometimes it goes into, oh, you did this, you did that, while they're talking, because it's just kind of inner monologue and what kind of Cassie's thinking. Please listen. I'm gonna read, like, this little part. This is Locke talking. The unsub didn't kill her. Locke was the first one who said it out loud. There's virtually no blood pooled around the body. She was killed somewhere else. You killed her. You brought her here. You painted the room in blood. That the story is blatantly telling you it's her, but you literally can't pick up on it. Like, it's near impossible. And this made me gasp so loudly. Because Agent Locke is like, okay, like, let's go into the killer's mind. She's like, okay, Agent Locke said, so I'm the killer. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, and this is another thing that I missed, but so did everyone else in the book. And honestly, I'm not a profiler, okay? So I get a pass. But, like, Locke is talking to Cassie about the fact that, oh, they didn't even consider that the killer might have been a woman. They just kept going he because they thought it was a man. She'd practically told me she was the unsub, and it had gone right over my head because I trusted her. Because if the unsub's motivations wasn't sexual, if he wasn't killing his wife or his mother or a girl who turned him down over and over again, if he was she. Because you learn from Criminal Minds that women don't usually, like, sexually assault their victims. It's more about revenge. Oh yes, and the fact that Cassie, like, keeps her talking so Michael can reach for the gun even though he has a gunshot wound in his thigh and then shoot Agent Locke. She's like, I never expected you to believe me, I said, or to let me live. I just needed you to listen. Her eyes met mine. They widened. A gunshot went off, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, and my Aunt Lacey fell to the floor. Her body splayed out next to Genevieve, dead. And I felt so bad for Michael, and I still feel so bad for him because that's not something I could ever wish upon anyone. And then we have that really cute scene with Leah and Cassie where Leah doesn't know how to express her emotions. Okay, we know that. And then she's talking to Cassie, and she's like, are you gonna stay or are you gonna go? Obviously wanting her to stay. And Cassie goes, I'm not going anywhere. I'm in this, but I'm keeping the lipstick. Rawr, Leah made a scratching motion. Somebody's finally growing claws. Yeah, I said dryly, I love you too. I turned to walk into the house, but Leah's voice stopped me halfway there. I'm not saying I like you. I'm not saying I'm gonna stop eating your ice cream or stealing your clothes, and I'm certainly not saying that I won't make your life a living nightmare if you jerk Dean around, but I wouldn't want you to leave. Okay, I love you too. And then, okay, Michael ate with this line, because he realizes that Cassie doesn't know if she wants to be with Dean or with him. And he says, so take whatever time you need, figure out how you feel, figure out if Dean makes you feel the way I do, if he'll ever let you in, if you want him to. Because the next time my lips touch yours, the next time your hands are buried in my hair, the only person you're going to be thinking about is me. 8. Okay, he ate. Underlined some things in the acknowledgements because Jennifer Lynn Barnes was talking about where she got her info about how profiling works and stuff like that, and I was really interested in it because I wanted to read it. It says, writing this book involved a lot of research. I owe particular depth to the memoirs of the FBI profiler John Douglas and to the empirical research of Paul Ekman, Maureen O'Sullivan, Simon Baron-Cohen, and many others. And that will be something that I will be looking into because I'm really interested in however that works and whatever it is. And that is the end of this reading vlog. I adored this book. It was a joy to read the second time as well, and I highly recommend it if you haven't read it, or if you've read it, reread it. Why not? And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you'd like, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.